So at this point, you should really check your portfolio and see if any of your stocks contain the letters A, M, or C. Citadel is most likely shorting it. Before we get into this video, please help out my channel by smashing that like button and hit the subscribe so that you can get the most updated content. A redditor by the name of Unfazed Synergy has an in-depth post with extreme due diligence about AMC. This post has some extreme due diligence and it's very long, so I'm going to try to summarize it for you. It starts by saying that AMC had a strong rally from the last week of May, and then the beginning of June, AMC ripped to the upside of more than 95% in a single day. Obviously, everybody was very excited about that, and a lot of people expected that AMC's price action would potentially trigger a margin call for these hedge funds. Eventually, we saw the price pull back a little bit and create a pennant formation that could either rip with huge upside or downside. Unfortunately, the rip to the huge upside didn't happen, and we've been hovering around a new channel of resistance and support level after breaking down. However, June's FTDs data released by the SEC paints a different picture. I talked about FTDs in one of my last videos, titled Hedge Funds Did What? And you can check it out. The link is in the description below. The SEC's FTDs data file has 6 different fields, but here's a screenshot of the most important ones that you're actually wanting to look at. According to the SEC, the values of total fails to deliver shares represent the aggregate net balance of shares that failed to be delivered as a particular settlement date. Fails to deliver on a given day are a cumulative number of all fails outstanding until that day, plus new fails that occurred that day, less fails that settle that day. In other words, the numbers that you see for the FTDs have little to no relationship to yesterday's aggregate fails. That means the age of these FTDs cannot be determined just by looking at the SEC's data. So taking a look at AMC's June 2nd price action, we can see that AMC's FTDs dropped approximately 1.8 million to 1.3 million. The discrepancy between these 2 days tells us that AMC's upside of more than 95% on June 2nd was not caused by a short squeeze, because the discrepancy margin is too narrow for the short squeeze to occur. If this was the case, we wouldn't be able to logically explain the price action of June 7th and the sudden disappearance of FTDs from June 4th to June 7th, as the June 4th and June 7th discrepancy is much greater than the June 1st and June 2nd FTDs, and yet AMC barely gapped up. Now if you take a look at June 3rd, the number of FTDs on June 3rd, we see a dip from 1.3 million and all of a sudden there's a huge surge to 5.4 million. So what happened there? Their theory is that naked shorting occurred and hedge funds had to short so much to cut AMC's momentum that they couldn't hide all of the naked shorts through deep in the money calls and cash covered puts. So the hedgies were absolutely desperate to contain the price movement and ensure that AMC doesn't experience multi-parabolic days. EFTs and FTDs. As you may or may not know, hedge funds are also using ETFs that hold AMC to short the stock and create an artificial down pressure. So at this point, you should really check your portfolio and see if any of your stocks contain the letters A, M, or C. Citadel is most likely shorting it. AMC was also put in a threshold security list, and in order to appear on that list, the security must be registered with the SEC and have had 5 or more consecutive days of failed settlement. That failed settlement must also be a size of totaling 10,000 shares or more, or at least 0.5% of the security's shares outstanding. As of June 2nd, there are about 502 million shares outstanding for AMC. If you multiply that by 0.5%, you get about 2.5 million. So the hedgies have been shorting at least that amount in the past few FTDs. So more words in other words, hedge funds have not covered, they've added more shorts, and now they're going to be in for a squeeze of a lifetime. That's going to do it for this video. Let me know what your thoughts are. Leave a comment down below, smash that like button, and also subscribe to my channel.